Before I became politician, I was staying in this house for nearly about 20 years. And this was a small village in Karnataka. And probably about 50 homes were there. And probably there was no, I think there was no electricity until I went to college. And good thing about this house is you don't have any problem finding your family members. So it's much easy, so you're not getting lost. So it's like a one room and a kitchen, bath and hall and TV room. Of course, there are no TVs, right? And there is a temple behind that. I think this far in the further distance. And the most luxurious toy I could afford at the time in the entire village was like a dry battery cell. So we used to spend days long figuring out what this battery cell is and try and how to open it without breaking that internal electrodes. And it was fun. And well, I think that's how I got attached to kind of science and technology. And I was not happy with the toys we were getting as a child. So I wanted to see, one day I was telling myself, like, if I become an engineer, I should make my own toys and play. But by the time I became engineer, I lost the sense of play anyway. Well, I completed my engineering from Mysore University in instrumentation technology in 1991. Then I went to Indian Institute of Science for my master degree, and I completed in 1992 to 94 my master's in electrical communication engineering. Then worked in Bengaluru for a couple of years, mainly in the chip design area, and then moved to California. Want to explore what the world is about, and worked with a couple companies called Cadence Design Systems and Sun Microsystems for nearly about 10 years together. And this was my life, and in fact, this was my life at home. So I'm not showing the pictures of the office. This is my home. So like there was no difference between office and home. So my home was like a kind of lab, and there's not much difference between holidays and working days. And I pretty much enjoyed working with electronics and working with the computers and working with communication technologies. I always loved technology, and I do still love technology. And these are some of the things I made for myself, for my personal applications. They're some of the fairly complex things for a hobby, of course. And this is another room in my house, and mainly like it was not looking like a house. So my wife was always complaining. When we got our baby, I had to move my lab outside of the bedroom and keep it somewhere in the hall, and a lot of electrical wires. And certainly keeping child off of electrical wires was a difficult job. Well, these are some of the words I think some of you may be familiar. I think it's all Verilog, application-specific integrated circuits, design for testability, electronic design automation, system on chip, microprocessor, firmware, hardware, printed circuit boards, computer communication, PCI, USB, DRAM. And many of these things are like my life for many, many years. And of course, I'm still with the technology, and I'm not disconnected. Well, I was thinking myself, in the US, we have a couple of friends from the US here, and in the US, we have this traditional festival called Thanksgiving. And it's a wonderful festival. But I was trying to see what it means to me, whom I need to be thankful for, because I was heading the high volume computer design and development effort in Sun, and it was a very prestigious job. And at least my products were nearly having more than $1 billion revenue for the company. And it was a very great responsibility, and it was a great respect for a kid from small village here in India. And I was just wondering whom I need to be thankful for what I am today. I started thinking, like, is it my hard work? Is it my family? Is it my friends? Is it my teachers? Or is it my relatives? And who are they? Whom all I need to be thankful for what I am today? When I started thinking probably more seriously on this, I started thinking, I did not build the engineering college in which I studied. I did not build the roads in which I traveled. And I did not build the hospitals in which I took the treatment in India. I think it is all this entire bigger system kind of contributed immensely to me. But I was just wondering how I can probably give it back to the entire bigger system. I even started thinking, many of these public infrastructure has been built by public money. When you say government, it's public money, who being paid by taxpayers. Who are the taxpayers? Is it only the rich people? If the poor farmer goes to a medical store and buys a cough syrup for a sick wife, he pays a tax on that. Even if a beggar goes and buys a medication for his ailments, he pays a tax on that. I think many of us got the education from funding from all these sources. So I was just wondering, like, how I can connect back to the bigger system and contribute in my own capacity. So that's how this notion came into my mind, and I was thinking very seriously. And it is almost like 10 years in the United States, and I want to come back and see what I can do. I came to Dell R&D in India, in Bangalore, to head the enterprise class servers design and development effort. Then after some time, I joined a company called Cisco Systems. One day, there were some relatives from my hometown, and they came and met me, and they started describing their challenges in the small villages. I asked them, what is wrong? Then when they explained how difficult it is, sometimes people go with kerosene bottles to go and get their government records. I was just wondering, why do you go with a kerosene bottle to go to the taluk office to get the government records? The way they explained really was shocking. See, we have computerized all this documentation printing efforts in many places, and most of the time there will not be power. So people go and stand in the queue almost like 5:30 in the morning, and by the time they get their turn, let's say power is gone. Therefore, the district administration has given them UPS, not United Postal Service, it is like a uninterrupted power supply. So sometimes these UPS systems also, they run out probably 1 or 2 hours. Then they have been given by generators. And these generators also, they run out of kerosene once in a while. So in order to guarantee that you really get your certificate, people go with the kerosene bottles. And it was like very shocking to me. Well, I was just wondering, how I can be a part of the help here. And they said, what, there is an election coming, we don't know who is coming. Then I asked them, what is this election? They said, it is a parliament election. I was really not sure, because it's almost like a decade. I asked them, what is the difference between MLA and MP? They explained in their own way. I went to Wikipedia, and that day I studied, what is MP altogether? Then I came back and asked them, hey, can I contest? Then they were like, not really sure what they're hearing from me. Anyway, the journey started. I will probably spend some more time on exactly how it came to this point. The point here is how we can be thankful for what we have received, and what we have is also one of the probably a key thought in our actions, I thought. And many times in the United States, we used to get together in the Friday evening, either in Starbucks or Pizza Hut and many of these places, and just discuss what is wrong with India. Why politics is bad, why government is bad, why roads are bad, why everything is bad. But many times, it used to occur, yeah, we have said enough about it, but is there anything we can do? I think most of the time we were clueless, because we were living far away, and we didn't know how to navigate here. And most of the time, all these thoughts remained thoughts alone, or wishful thinking. But when I came back here, I really wanted to see, is there anything we can really do rather than just talking? The biggest question was how. Yes, we need to do something, but how do we do it? It took really, really long time for me to get some answer. In the corporate world, we talk about leadership. We talk about leadership of an organization, and how do you take a company forward, how do you get more revenues, how do you get more customers, how do you develop more products. I was a senior engineering manager when I was thinking on this. So I thought, if I work for another 5 years, I'll become a director. Then probably another 5 years, senior director. Another 5 years, probably an associate VP or assistant VP or additional VP. Then probably another 5 years, probably vice president in a bigger organization. That's about 20 years. Now I am 40. So that means by the time I retire, I will be VP. Okay, is that all I can ask for? Just imagine a God appeared in front of me and he asked me, hey, what is it you want to do in the earth? Then probably before getting born in the earth, if the God asked me, am I going to tell all I want to become is VP. Somehow it was not connecting. Maybe I thought I should ask for more. Then I thought, okay, this is not the path I should be probably taking, because this is a slow path. I want to see what is the faster path. I don't know what is the fast path, but I want to see, is there anything I can do in terms of leadership? Well, that is a time I thought I should probably take a radically different approach. Many people told me, no, you're making a big mistake. You're quitting your job? I want to really get convinced on myself. Like, even family was also another piece where I wanted to do the convincing. I told myself, when I'm 60, I'm going to retire. I will have a lot of time. But can I borrow that 1 year from my future and plug that now here in this situation? So worst case, rather than getting retired at 60, let's assume I'm going to retire at 61. That's all it's going to happen. So let's take the 1 year and just experiment. Let's figure out, it's okay. If I don't succeed, it's okay. All I lose is just 1 year, that's all right. So at least working for almost like 15 years in the industry, at least I deserve 1 year even to make mistakes. That's how I convinced myself, and I decided to quit my job in Cisco. Well, I don't know whether you can see me, it's here. This is my first speech in my constituency. I went to Chitradurga, and suddenly there were a lot of kids around and the students, and they came, hey, who are you, what are you? Because it was almost like many days I left Chitradurga, and I wanted to connect back. And this was in front of the IIB, and many of the students, they were like curious. Well, I started explaining my notion, why I want to do, what I want to do. And it is like, just in the entirely different world from that point onwards. And there are a lot of public speeches and connecting with the people and understanding the challenges there. And finally, I think it took almost like 6 months, and elections are over, and this was like this is me here. Well, it was a big journey, and this was in the parliament. This was my first speech in the parliament. Again, I had to say something about this because I was always been away from the public speech. Even during my college days, even when I got my, when I was receiving my prizes, I was waiting for the entire event to over and then collect my prizes. So I could avoid showing up my face in the public. For a person like that, and for a person who are not having any knowledge or background in whatsoever in the politics, getting to this place was an interesting journey. Having won the 2009 elections for the parliament, I really want to see what is a bigger thing I can do for my constituency. Because ultimately the journey should reach some logical point. My biggest concern for that area was getting the water. Getting the water was always been a big dream for the constituents for nearly about 40 to 50 years. And there was a lot of struggle because there is no river in the area and there is no water, and getting to that point was the biggest struggle. But finally, with the help of the state government and with all the leaders' support, we got the nearly about $1.5 billion water project sanctioned. This is exactly the work that is going on now. It is a lot of progress has been made. You can see some people there. You can imagine the depth, and it is a big project to bring the nearly about more than 20 to 30 TMC of water from source to nearly about 200 kilometers away. And these are some of the pipes, probably a bigger car can pass through. I think we are putting some 5 lanes, and it's a massive project. And you can also probably see, you can see one human being here. This gives you a perspective of the scale of the project. And this is a progress. And another biggest thing was this area called Chitradurga has been kind of left out in the progress, and it is economically very backward area. One of the main reasons is this is not connected to the Bangalore by train in the direct line. So currently, you have to go like this and come back like this to this place and reach Bangalore. So that is also another reason it's not benefiting the farmers and villagers there, because train is still a more economical mode of transportation. So there was a request for this train for nearly about 40 years, but nothing has happened. But I'm glad to say during my term, we got this $500 million project to put the direct track from here to here and here to here. As a result, it will save about 230 kilometers in the round trip for this region, that's going to change the local dynamics. And I think many of us are familiar with the DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization, and Indian Space Research Organization, and Baba Atomic Research Corporation, and Indian Institute of Science. They all have something in common because all of them are coming up in my constituency now in nearly about 10,000 acres. That's going to change the entire local dynamics there, because nearly about, at least I would think about $2 billion will be spent on creating India's national R&D hub in Chitradurga, which is like a kind of completely ignored from the independence, but now it is getting the complete importance. I think I'm also very happy to be part of this entire effort. Again, one of the key learning for me is good work is not good enough. You have to do marketing too. That is a lesson learned, because many of my constituents do not even know these things are happening in my constituency. We got too much carried away, because probably I might have attended nearly hundreds of meetings to get the railway project sanctioned, but many people are still wondering, oh, is it really sanctioned? They don't know. So that is the biggest thing learning from this exercise is make sure you do market. India has a hope, and I believe it is a democracy at its best in this planet. And I also believe Make in India initiative from the Honorable PM Shri Narendra Modi ji is one of the greatest vision this country is receiving. I think that's going to play a very, very important learning exercise for all of us, and it's going to create a wonderful future for the country. And it is a time to contribute and make India a great nation, and definitely we need to make the world a better place to live and evolve and go into the future. And more importantly, I feel you are better than those who never tried, even if you failed. So I think one of the biggest learning I derived from the United States, at least from Silicon Valley, is it's okay to fail. Sometime back, a journalist in Silicon Valley asked me, "Sir, do you think you would have become MP if you are not in Silicon Valley?" I was not able to connect these dots, but after a while I thought I probably would not have become MP if I was not there in the Silicon Valley, because one thing probably I learned from Silicon Valley is it's okay to fail. So as long as you feel comfortable with that, at least you will make an attempt. As long as you are making an attempt, there is a chance that you will win. Thank you very much.